Welcome back to Raising the Bar. So this episode is going to be a bit contentious because we're going to discuss how to scale your freelance business. Now, we don't all want the same exact thing, and there's numerous ways to be a freelancer. You can be a full-time freelancer and run yourself just like a company. You can be a part-time freelancer doing on the side of your full-time job, and you can also just go live on a freelance platform. But if you want control, meaning you want the ability to go make $1 million a year or really control the freedom and flexibility of your business, you have to scale. And that's what we're going to discuss in today's episode. As a summary, I'm Matthew Mottola, author of The Human Cloud, also CEO of Venturel. My life has been freelancing. I've grown a freelance business, I've hired freelancers globally, and I've helped companies spend up to $100 million on us, which is why I'm so passionate about today's, because the secret to really controlling our freelance career is being able to scale. Enjoy. Okay, so how do you scale your freelance business? This probably is the most contentious one because scale is a pretty ambiguous term, and we don't all want the same thing. Some of us want to make $1 million a year. Some of us want to have freedom and flexibility, and we probably can't have everything in this world, although freelance comes pretty close. But in terms of scale, what do we mean? I think a scale is control. Me personally, I don't necessarily want to make $1 million a year, but I want financial security, meaning I want to make sure that the money that I need, I have the channels for without having to work 100 hours a week. So that's my personal definition. You all have your own. I'll sort of throw that one over to you. In terms of how do you actually scale, let me tell you how you don't scale first. You don't just go work 100 hours a week every single week. Likewise, you don't just go hire a bunch of people for the sake of hiring or go and hire a VA or do something that's kind of a get-rich-quick scheme or just work. Instead, there is a systematic process. And the first thing that I want to get across that is going to permeate throughout the video is that you do have to think of yourself as an owner or an entrepreneur or a founder. The reason that I struggle with that is because I don't yet know, and I don't think any of us yet know, one term to use when we say something like a professional freelancer. So instead of throwing out a bunch of blanket terms or saying you have to be this one thing, instead, what I've seen in my career, both experiencing myself and working with the best freelancers in the world, is I have seen that there is this foundation. Specifically, the best freelancers have a network of people to turn to, have a strong product, and have a strong process. So let's go one by one through those. In terms of people, the best freelancers, they don't do everything themselves. They generally own the strategy, potentially own one portion, but then dish out to fellow freelancers what they're not best at. So let me give you an example that just happened to me at a coffee shop. Met with a client and he's launching a new company and he needs a pitch deck and he needs a wireframe so that he can go raise up to $500K. Now, I could win that deal and I could do everything myself, but the best freelancers will either take one or own the strategy and delegate the rest out. And the reason for that is that because there's going to be follow-up projects, and the best projects, what we all want is we want high projects, meaning high income, and we want long ones. And the way to get that is to take on more responsibility. And so the way that project that I told you about is going to work is that you win the pitch deck and the wireframe, and then from the pitch deck, that's going to turn into a bunch of go-to-market collaterals. And from the wireframe, it's probably going to turn into a web and mobile app. But instead of you having to do everything yourself, the best freelancers have a network of fellow freelancers to take that over. And the results of this is that instead of having 100 different clients, or instead of having to go out and fish every single day for a new client, you end up having 15 really good freelancers that are referring work to you and that are always turning back to you. So that's the first thing, is that the best freelancers, specifically freelancers at scale, they have a strong network of people. And I like to think about 15 to 50 is usually what we see there. The second thing is that the best freelancers have a strong product. Now, we're not building a software app, right? That people come use self-service. We are a service-based business. But within this service-based business, there's multiple ways to be efficient and also make money without having to do anything, meaning you do it once and people keep self-service using it. And so when we talk about product, though, we usually like to think about it in terms of small, medium, large. The reason for that is that clients, the sort of scale journey is that they want to work with you on a risk-free project. They then want to sort of slowly, then exponentially climb up in terms of giving you more responsibility / work. So I like to think the small project, think about that as something lower than 500. The medium, think 500 to 5,000. The high, think 5,000 plus. And with each product, you have to very, 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 think about it as quantitatively or succinctly or whatever, be able to define exactly what you do, exactly what the benefit is, exactly what the cost is, and exactly how long it will take. So that's in terms of the product. In terms of the third pillar is process. So just to summarize, it's people, it's product, and process. The process is so that the more work you take on, the less admin you take on. And there's the term I want you to take away when you think about your business today and your business tomorrow is I want you to think about the word evolve, and you can also use the word iteration if you'd like. But what that means is that the more you're in business, the more you're learning. And there's a couple of different reasons for this. The first reason is just that you don't want to keep adding on operations and admin. Most of you, if you have 5+ clients right now, or you're operating sort of at max capacity, you're probably doing a lot of admin work. Some of the numbers that we've seen, the data that we've seen is it's usually over 50% of your work. But so the reason you want to have strong processes is to reduce that admin, but then also to get better the more work you do. And in terms of process, that is the full client delivery experience, which usually we can plot out and say like 15 steps, right? You have the client finds you, you have client intake, you have the client onboarding, you have the actual project, you then have to follow up, and there's numerous steps all throughout that. So in terms of what you can do today, 3 things. The first thing, and we're going to go pillar by pillar, is go build your network. Specifically have core and complementary people in your network. Core meaning they do the same thing that you do, probably at a cheaper, potentially at a higher price point, so that if they need someone more junior, send them to the core. Complementary meaning they add on to your product. So back to the example of the client earlier today, instead of being just an article writer or being just a wireframe designer, you can have other freelancers who can take on the pitch deck and then take on the infographic that's going to happen post the pitch deck, as well as SEO and other fulfillment things. So that's the first thing. Go out and meet 15 to 50 fellow freelancers. The second thing in terms of the product is I need you to quantify your product specifically into what you do, what's that main tangible benefit, what's the cost, and how long will it take, and then do that for a low, medium, and high project. Now, putting it all together, the third thing regarding process, so that you're not wasting half your time on admin, is I need you to create a standard SOW/proposal document. Think about this as when you win a client, instead of saying I'll email you tomorrow or whatever, change just a little bit of the stuff, probably 20% of the stuff, and then email them that moment. So that's the first thing, is create an SOW. And the second thing is also create an invoice template. That's very, very simple, and we can help you with that. But so to summarize, what the hell is scale? It's whatever you want it to be, but we consider it control. Control to make $1 million, control to have freedom and flexibility, whatever your unique situation is. The best freelancers gain control by having strong people, a strong product, and strong process. The way that you are going to get there is you're going to go out and you're going to go build your network of 15 fellow freelancers. You're then going to create your low, medium, high offerings. Then you're going to standardize your SOW and an invoice template. Go nuts.